Hello internet friends, and welcome to the Legion Alpha Beta first look coverage summary first pass for the Protection Paladin. I did both Protection Paladin and Holy Paladin testing live today. If you want to check out the live testing processes of these, or at least watch the VOD for them, it's over on my twitch.tv//FinalBossTV. Links are, of course, in the description box, as well as all my bugs and notes and things not working are linked down there as well. You can go check those out. And all of my past testing is organized and put together on my channel guide. Link is on my FinalBossTV at Twitch page. So, I thought the Demonology Warlock had changed a lot, but the Protection Paladin actually has some pretty significant changes, I think, overall, and lots of sort of new ways to think about how the class will work due to the fact that A, there's no holy power, and B, for all tanks, there's no resolve anymore. Vengeance was a thing of the past, now resolve is now going to be a thing of the past as well. So they're all based around their kit currently. So Hammer the Righteous, there's no more Crusader Strike, they're kind of rolled together. Avenger Shield is still here, Argent Defender, Consecration, your Guardian of Ancient Kings is very much here, which has a glyph actually to make it Guardian of Ancient Queens for those that are playing female characters, as well as Shield of the Righteous. So I'm going to go through the talent list real quick first. I'll go through all of the spellbook stuff as thoroughly as I can, and then I'll go through all the talents. Some talents I will just kind of graze over as I'm just like, they do this next, because there's lots of things that are a little bit more influential to how the spec might play. So Redoubt sticks around, but it's your judgment critical strikes now cause you to gain a charge of Shield of the Righteous. So if you played this spec back in the day, you might remember the 6-9-6-9 or 9-6-9-6 rotation, where you always had like ability here, ability there, ability here, ability there, but it's always like a rotation of abilities. That's sort of back. And in some way it is, in some ways it's not, because it's kind of like more random than that now, because of Redoubt and other talents. Your mastery is Divine Bulwark, which increases the damage reduction of your Shield of the Righteous by up to an amount, and then double that, or your full amount increases your base chance to block attacks, and of course the amount also gives you attack power. Now, I will go over here real quick to Shield of the Righteousness, because this is your active mitigation. 12-second recharge, you can have 3 charges of it. It does holy damage, reduces the damage you take by 25% for 4.5 seconds. The recharge is, of course, reduced by haste. I have 0 haste on my gear to show base amounts. Again, I have 0 haste on my current gear. Haste still reduces the cooldowns of, say, Judgment, recharge timers on Hammer the Righteous and Shield of the Righteous, stuff like that. But, big key thing here, which some Protection Paladins probably picked up on immediately. It's reducing damage you take. Not physical damage, damage. Shield of the Righteous now works on all incoming damage. That's spell damage and physical damage. And it's 25% base plus your mastery, which right now my mastery gives me a 41%. That's the new animation, by the way. That could be a little bit of an updated one, but that's the animation. So like the poof and then the swing is kind of like desynced. I don't know if they're gonna keep it that way, but that's the animation right there. So that's your core active mitigation, right? The other passives you have, of course, are Heart of the Crusader, which is just 20% movement speed while mounted, right? Grand Crusader is when you avoid a melee attack or use Hammer of the Righteous, you have a 15% chance of refreshing the cooldown of Avenger's Shield. Pardon me. This is on an avoided attack that is dodged, parried, or I would assume the attacker misses you. Not on a block. From all intents and purposes, what we found in talking about today, it is not on a block. It is on a dodge or a parry. 50% chance to give you Avenger's Shield refresh, which looks a little bit different now. Has a cool little sound effect in the background there. It goes ping, bing, bing, ting, ting. You know, it's pretty cool. But that is how the new Avenger's Shield looks and reacts. Very Johanna from Heroes of the Storm. And then again, active mitigation here from your Shield of the Righteous. The other ones here are talents that we have. What is interesting about this is that there is sort of a bing, bing, bing a synergy with how a couple of talents work, and some of that are clearly broken. Again, all of my bug reports are in the description box. But Light of the Protector is your new like active mitigation tool, where it's a 15-second cooldown that you'll heal yourself for 50% of missing health. Now, I'm going to go beat on the Dungeoneer dummy over here for a little bit, just show you some spell effects and what things look like. Consecrate still being here. Shield of the Righteous is off the global cooldown as well still. It has a 1-second global cooldown. I'm going to heal myself for a whole bunch. Woo! But you can more or less have 100% uptime on Shield of the Righteous, which is kind of the point. I believe it's to have 100% uptime. It's not to spam it and stack the duration. I'll lay on hands real quick here, just to keep going. But is to have it at 100% uptime and being weaved into your rotation. Stun this guy and then heal myself. Whoop! But that is sort of the basis of how Shield of the Righteous will work, is that you can charge it up and have a couple of charges in a row and use multiple ones. Or you can make sure you weave it in and out of your, I don't want to die. Whoop! There's the heal. So Divine Steed is baseline for the Protection Paladin. This is your little movement speed. Increase horsey summon there, your little holy horse. By default, you have Protection, Sacrifice, and Freedom as your blessings now. They're no longer called hands, they're called blessings. Blessing of Salvation is a talent that actually redirects all threat to you. It is a misdirect. You also have Blessing of Spell Warding, which is like Bop, but a 3-minute cooldown, not a 5-minute cooldown. Bop is 5 minutes, and it is for physical attacks only. I'll show you Bop. What also happens with Bop real quick here is that you can actually attack while bopped, but you will be immune to physical damage attacks. The target dummy will keep trying to attack me, but he can't hit me because I'm immune to physical attacks. You do still drop aggro if the mob will actually drop aggro from you. Like if you're in a group or a party or a raid and you bop yourself, you will lose aggro, but you will take no damage from immunities or no damage from physical attacks because you are immune. I'll show you the spell warding graphic when it comes back off cooldown. But that's your big trade-off, right? Is 5 minutes for bop for physical attacks, or spell warding, which is 3 minutes for all magic attacks or magical attacks for 10 seconds. So it's pretty cool. You can only have one or the other, right? Fist of Justice is currently bugged. It should reduce the cooldown of Hammer of Justice by 10 seconds. Repentance is here, which is a big change, which I'll talk about in this video and in Holy Paladins, that while the mob is CC'd under the 1-minute duration, if it's the maximum duration of Repentance, they'll actually take up to 25% of the target's max health and damage. Only works on demons, dragonkin, giants, humanoids, and undead. More or less everything but elementals and robots and stuff, right? Then Blinding Light is here. It's 2-minute cooldown. It is a AoE disorient where holy damage will not break the disorient effect, so you can use it with like Consecrate and stuff like that. And Retribution Aura, you'll see, is back, which is weird because it's a 60-yard AoE. It is really far. It goes all the way over there. And then if anything attacks other people or their party members with the aura on them, you will attack them for holy damage and generate additional threat on them. The animation right now is kind of spammy. It tries to use the directed cast, like smite animation, and it will keep trying to like remove your shield and stuff, which is just kind of annoying. If you keep casting spells, you won't notice it, but sometimes it will remove your shield and your sword, which is kind of awkward. I don't know if that's supposed to be intentional or not. I put that as a bug, because I don't know if that's supposed to be. There was the crit heal, which I was good to show off. If you crit heal yourself with Light of the Protector, it is more or less a lay on hands. On a baseline, 15-second cooldown, which is ridiculous. Judgment is doing judgment stuff, 6-second cooldown, 30-odd range. You deal holy damage, and you cause the next, or the target to take 30% increased damage from your Crusader Strike or Holy Shock, which is the incorrect wording. That is actually for Holy Paladins. I'm going to assume that it says Crusader Strike, which would be your Hammer of the Righteous, or Holy Shock, which either means Avenger's Shield or Shield of the Righteous, one of the two. I'm going to guess it's Avenger's Shield, not Shield of the Righteous, because it already has a synergy with Avenger's Shield already. Hammer of the Righteous, by default, is a 3-second recharge. You can have 2 of them. You just deal physical damage to the target, but if you are standing on your own consecration, you will AoE like you're used to. The spell graphic is, like, way huge right now, so that's probably not going to go live like that. The actual effect of the damage does not go that far. as I will now show you. It doesn't go to this guy. Like, it hits these two, but doesn't go that far. It does just do, like, a 10-yard AoE. Or 8 yards, I suppose. That's what the tooltip does say. So, it just, the animation effect is, like, kind of broken. Like, it just, it's a little bit too far. But that'll happen, and it'll fix it in the future, I'm sure. I'll show Guardian Keys off in a moment. Consecration, 9-second cooldown, 9-second duration. Ardent Defender is still here. It's 12% maximum heal if you were to die during the 8 seconds. 20% DR during the duration. And Guardian of Ancient Kings is still a 50% reduction in all damage taken for 8 seconds. The tooltip doesn't say the duration of the time there. And then Avenger's Shield, which is a 15-second cooldown, or again, resetting with Grand Crusader, with when you avoid melee attacks, dodge, or parry, or miss, if they miss you, and then a 15% chance on Hammer of the Righteous to reset an Avenger's Shield. When you cast Avenger's Shield, you also get the Avenger's Valor, which is the effect of your next Shield of the Righteous or Light of the Protector is increased by 20%. So this will multiplicatively increase the heal from Light of the Protector, based on your missing HP, or it will do more damage on your Shield of the Righteous and also amplify the DR. So by default, the DR goes from 41 in my current mastery to 49. It adds 8%, right? 20% of 41, 40-ish. It's 8. So that's pretty cool. So Avenger's Shield and Shield of the Righteous have a big synergy to work together with each other to protect your butt. What also protects your butt is a really amazing animation now that if you don't know this is going to be a bit of a surprise. Guardian of Ancient Kings, or Queens with the glyph, makes you turn in to the actual Guardian itself. So for the duration of 8 seconds, you are the Guardian of Ancient Kings, which is a pretty cool little touch right there, I think, for the Protection Paladins out there. Instead of that little guy, like, just spawning next to you and then just, like, channeling the light into your body, you turn into the Guardian, which is pretty great. That's it, I think, for a lot of the basic stuff. You still have your res. Healers have a mass res by default and a single target res. Hybrids that also have a healing spec have a single target res by default. So more talents, of course. Consecrated Hammer gives your Hammer of the Righteousness always the damage bonus from being on top of your Consecration passively. And it's supposed to remove the cooldown. It doesn't remove the cooldown right now. That is currently not working. So the cooldown still stays in the 3-second rotation. But it should have no cooldown and be able to just be used as a filler move all the time. Or be spammed for, of course, AoE tanking. Day of Reckoning gave your Hand of Reckoning, which is your taunt, 3 charges. And then when they're affected by the Hand of Reckoning, which is a 4-second debuff, you will take 10% less physical damage from the target. They'll do 10% less physical damage to you. First Avenger is kind of the glyph of Avenging Shield. So it does double damage on Avenging Shield, 100% increased damage. Increases the chance of its cooldown to be reset by abilities and talents by 100%, but only hits one target. So this means that any ability or passive that would reset the cooldown of Avenger's Shield is doubled. So now, your Grand Crusader is a 30% chance when you avoid a melee attack or use Hammer of the Righteous to reset the cooldown of Avenger's Shield. Okay? Holy Shield's now a passive. 10% increased chance to block, and you can block spells. A block is a 40% reduction in the damage incoming. And when you block, you deal horror damage to your attacker. Guardian's Light increases the healing from Light of the Protector by 20%, which gives it a 10% more benefit of your missing HP. So by default, it's 50% of missing HP. Now it will work up to 60% of your missing HP. You have to obviously be missing health for this to actually heal you at all. So this gives you a 10% more of your missing health effective towards the heal yourself. Last Defender, which is an 8-yard radius damage reduction passive aura that doesn't tell you it working, where each target around you up to a diminishing returns effect you take less damage from. It's really weird. So it reads that each enemy within 8 yards reduces the damage that you take by 3%. This effect is diminishing returns. So is it 3, 6, 9, 12 or like 3, 6, 8, 10, 11, something like that? We have no idea. It doesn't tell you. Divine Bulwark just immediately gives you 3 charges of Shield of the Righteous, so you can technically stack this up and have tons of time on it. Or just have a burst window. You can go up to 21 seconds in a row with your cooldown there of duration. It just adds the duration of the 4.5 seconds each time you use Shield of the Righteous. I don't think that's very good. it does give you technically another cooldown to have more charges immediately if you need them on demand. Crusader's Judgment, again, this is working with First Avenger, so I'll turn that off real quick. Crusader's Judgment, when you cast Judgment, you have a 15% chance, or 30 with First Avenger, to refresh the cooldown of Avenger's Shield. So that's a lot of chance to refresh Avenger's Shield, which while using it gives you the 20% more heal, or the effect on your Shield of the Righteous. This also means that Judgment crits give you a charge of Shield of the Righteous by your passive, right? Your normal passive you have here in Redoubt. But then it also gives you the chance to refresh Avenger's Shield, so a lot happens on Judgment, and it gives you the damage window, right? Blessed Hammer is ridiculous, which I can't show right now, but I will in a moment, where you actually throw Blessed Hammers that spiral around you. I'll be sure to show that off toward the end of this video in a moment here. It looks like the hammers in Diablo 3, and each time the hammer deals damage to the target, they will be debuffed to deal 50% less damage on the next auto attack to the Paladin. This can hit mobs multiple times. Because of how large hitboxes could be, you'll see them spin around and they'll hit multiple times, so you can kind of keep this buff up all the time. And they should work with Consecrated Hammer, but it does not right now. It has no synergy at all. Consecrated Ground means that your Consecrate is also like a Healing Rain. It's pretty boring, and it's also a movement slow. It's like a Frost Trap and a Healing Rain at the same time. Judgment of the Light, it brings back Judgment of the Light, or the Judgment of Light from back in the day, where I'm still in combat for some reason, where you put up 40 charges of a heal, and when you hit the target, you get healed for a little bit. Small internal cooldown, spell hits work, damaging hits work, auto attacks work. Kind of weak, in my opinion. I actually really think that the other talent here, Righteous Protector, is the best talent in this tier. These are both cool. They're kind of like flavorful. But Righteous Protector is each time you use Shield of the Righteous, the remaining cooldown on Light of the Protector is reduced by 3 seconds. That's more of your huge self-heal. 15-second cooldown by default. You're going to rotate in 1 or 2 SOTRs in there randomly. So they're 6 seconds off. Almost half the cooldown is reduced. You get more of your huge self-healing possible lay on hands if it crits. Really good talent. Ages of the Light. I'm going to show off Final Stand and Knights Templar. It just gives you a 30-second cooldown on Divine Steed, and when you're mounted, you take 20% less damage. Doesn't work right now at all. So I'll show off Final Stand. Reduces the cooldown of your Divine Shield by 50%. Yes, 50% on your Super Bubble that has normally a 5-second cooldown, goes to a 2.5. You are immune during Super Bubble, Divine Shield. Obviously, chart gives you 30 seconds of forbearance. But this makes you taunt everything within 15 yards, and it's a taunt fixate for 8 seconds. So, by default, if you bubble on a boss, you lose aggro, right? But then you can bubble and then taunt back, of course. That's kind of how it works, and you'll fixate for the 3 or 4 seconds that the taunt works. But this is an AoE taunt version of that on a 2.5-minute cooldown where you're immune to everything for 8 seconds. Really powerful. Really, really powerful. So I don't know if this will go live like this. This is a screen tearing issue with the spell effect. It looks kind of cool, I suppose, but it's broken. And there is your Blessed Hammers. Again, watch the Blessed Hammer debuff is basically permanently on the mob as you rotate in Blessed Hammers in your rotation, and that'll just keep reducing the damage of their next auto attack on you. Because the Blessed Hammers can rotate through the mob and keep applying the debuff. It's kind of like a floating maul if you're a druid. So that's really good. Blessed Hammer is also a damage amp because it turns Hammer of the Righteous from a AoE plus holy damage to just holy damage spin around you. And the hammers start from where you cast them and rotate around them, I think 3 or 4 times, again in semicircles. And then Age of the Light is a 5-minute cooldown, like it's a bubble shield. They stand behind you and take 20% less damage. You take less damage, and if allies stand behind you for 6 seconds, they take less damage. Spell effect is probably placeholder right now, and now I can't show it because I showed you Final Stand. But that's this is the Protection Paladin. It has a lot going on, a lot of new spell effects, a lot of new graphics, a lot of things that buff each other, a lot of things that synergize back and forth between this buff and that buff and this spell and that one. It's a lot to take in, I know, and if you missed more and you want to check out the VOD, please do. Hit that like button, helps me out a great deal. Subscribe to see more previews in the future. and I'll see you all in the next Legion class summary.